Good evening, Starspawn. This is your Grand Overlord, Almighty Cthulhu. I wanted to take a second to speak on Trump wanting to regulate Google. They're at least making comments on it. And I think it's a good thing that we finally gotten his attention. There's some issues with any sort of censorship. And I understand that people don't like the idea of government regulating the search results of any website. But if you're obviously breaking free speech law, the government should step in. Otherwise, we're not going to have any sort of protection on it. Like, we need a precedent set for the internet. Otherwise, it's not going to be the same thing in 10 years. We're going to be looking at highly filtered search results. Anybody with a voice who's slightly dissident, and with the way that it's going right now, won't be able to establish a platform. In fact, they might lose their job and other sorts of things. This has happened to a ton of people on the internet already. They'll get doxxed, or someone will figure out, oh, have some conservative views, and their company will fire them if they've spoken out against immigration or against transgenderism or something along those lines. And that's all wrong. That's all wrong. Like, people need to be able to speak their opinions. I've said before that free speech is held, in my opinion, in a very, very high regards. So, the argument would be that it's a private corporation. And the private corporation should be able to do whatever it wants to. I disagree with that. We already have laws, and a lot of people already disagree with that. Even though people say that sexism and racism is systemic, there are laws against people hiring based on race and gender and age and all sorts of different things. You can't fire someone for being a different race or a different gender or too young, unless it's like the military and they find out you're 16 or something like that. And even there's a lawsuit that went out. One thing that someone brought up to me a little bit ago is that Walmart was actually being sexist. And you know what happened? The Supreme Court came in 2011, brought the case in, and 5-4 vote decided that Walmart needed to have better hiring practices involving women. So the government does step in when private corporations are infringing upon the First Amendment right. In that case, it would have been the freedom of association, or the freedom of, which I guess it's not even association, because you can't choose to be a woman or a part of a different race. So it's not even a First Amendment right in that issue, but we've already had rulings against corporations when they're doing things wrong. I don't trust two things in this world: big government, big corporations. It's why I'm a centrist. It's why I'm so close to the center, is because I don't think that either of these things are too good. We need balance. Where am I going with this? I'm sure there's something more up here. Yeah, I think that might actually be it. Let me rack it around up in there. Oh, no, this is what I wanted to... Yeah, and it's not just a right issue. Like, I've heard stories of YouTube will do face service to the transgender and the LGBT community, but they'll also go and they'll ban LGBT channels and transgender channels. So it's not just a right thing. We need somebody to keep an eye on this, because free speech needs to be protected in what is now the town hall. We don't have debates anymore sitting around each other in a musty old room with the lights too low, all yelling back and forth at each other. We still yell back and forth at each other, but we do it into phones and the computers and into internet services. And if you take away this form of town hall, all of the liberation that the internet has brought forth so far will be gone. We won't... When the newspapers came out 200 years ago, there were thousands of newspapers. People forget, like, with us being in this time of, technology, widespread media, and media giants, we forget that there used to be thousands and thousands and thousands of Newspapers all over the place. You could open up your own newspaper if you wanted to, and you still are. If you decided that you wanted to take the risk and open a newspaper, maybe not the best business idea these days, because, we have YouTube now. You can do that. You're allowed to. So why should we not be able to? Because YouTube doesn't work as a publishing company. They have moved themselves away from that. They have strictly stated that they cannot be sued by anything that you post on here. So they're not a publishing company because they are not a publishing company. Google, which they're owned by Google, so I'm assuming this is what they're talking about the most, because there's obviously, well, not obviously, but there's also reportedly censorship all over Facebook, too, and all over Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. I've never used it. I don't think that 150 characters can encapsulate anything that I want to say, ever. I'm kind of long-winded. So I never used it, but I know that there's people getting kicked off of there, too. Now, I know they didn't kick off Alex Jones, but that's like one of, 50 websites that kicked him off? Or didn't kick him off? So, what is this? Like, they're not publishing you. They are not publishing you. They cannot tell you what you can't say. If they were publishing you and people were able to sue them because of what you said, that would be a different story. Then they could tell you that you couldn't do this. But that's not the case. They have very, very much moved away from that. They don't want anything to do with small civil cases involving people like Alex Jones in this entire Sandy Hook incident, for instance. They're suing Alex Jones, whose platform was on YouTube. They are not able to sue YouTube because they are not a publication company. The publication company is InfoWars and Alex Jones. So, why can't we have free speech here? Why? Maybe you should ask that, because it's not on the right, it's not on the left, it's everywhere. And as soon as, right now they're hitting the right hard. Obviously there's a bias. Probably because of the Trump election. And everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talked about how he's used social media to completely bring about his victory. But as soon as they're done going after the right, they're going to turn and look at the next people. The left. And once they get them, who else is left to speak? So we need to fight now. And that's why I'm making this video, is because even if I have 8 of you out there, which, by the way, welcome new subscribers, thanks for joining us, if we don't do anything now, it's going to be gone before we know it. In this 24-hour news cycle, everything's moving super fast. In this age of interconnection, everything is moving super fast. So we need to jump on this now, and it's great that we've had the leader of the most powerful country and the greatest country join our side. So, hopefully something good will come of this. Hopefully Google will kind of throttle back. Hopefully all the way. Hopefully they'll slam the brakes on and, I don't like big corporations, crash themselves so that there's room for other growth, because it'd be nice to see something other than Google and YouTube leading the market. If it wasn't for this, I would still suggest that we need to trust bust these corporations, because there's no room for growth on the internet. And there should be a look at family-owned businesses in the instance of the internet. But that's an entirely different conversation, and not involving censorship here, so I won't have it today, right now. But yeah, so I'm glad that this has happened. I hope that other people understand that this isn't just affecting the right. This is affecting everyone. And I hope that if you're not on the right, like Bill Maher, which that freaked me out. When he started talking about Alex Jones and everybody started applauding, and at the end he says that he can't be banned. Do you think those people felt a little dumb? I hope they did. Because what they were advocating for was the silencing of a dissident. And we are not a totalitarian state. Everybody here can speak. Everybody's allowed to. I might not like what you have to say. I might disagree with it. I might think you're a complete dumbass. But you're still allowed to say it. Why? Because I'm allowed to say what I want to. And that's how this country works. So, I think I've rambled on about this enough. I'm just going to sit here and wait for the stars to turn.